Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily topic-wise news analysis where the news is covered from two important newspapers, that is the Hindu and Indian Express. So let's start with the topic first. So these are the list of the topic that I'll be discussing with you. Today is 3rd of October. So the first topic is lack of transparency in the revenue sharing. The second most important topic is increasing trend in the liberties. Third topic is rise in the exports, and the last topic is channel pricing and regulation. So apart from all these topics, we'll have some MCQs question and the explanations, right? So this is all about the topic that I'll be discussing. And we at AptiPlus wish you all the best for all the aspirants who are appearing for the civil services prelims examination tomorrow, that is 4th of October. So stay positive, try to attempt as number of as question you can. So at least try to attempt 90 plus question, because this will help you to secure at least a seat in the prelims examination. And take all the precautions, do write the OMR sheet correctly, do fill the OMR sheet correctly, and make sure you are taking all the precautions in the examination hall, because amid the COVID-19 already UPSC has given some clarifications and the guideline. So make sure that the sanitizer is with you, every the possible things that can create a problem in the examination, so you should take care of it and try to maximize your efficiency, right? If you want to get an intelligence guessing also, you can guess the questions, but make sure you're having an intelligence guessing in the examination. And again, I wish you all the best so that you can come up with the flying colors. Now let's start with the topic first, that is the lack of transparency in the revenue sharing. This is there from the Hindu. So this is an editorial which talks about the lack of openness which is there in the revenue sharing. So this is very important for your General Studies paper 2 and General Studies paper 3 mains examination. Some bits and pieces would be again relevant for your prelims examination. Now the recent report that was being published by the CAG. So what CAG has did, they have reported a recent the upcomings which were there. So the report quotes that the government of India did not transfer 6,466 crore rupees as in compensation cess during the 2017-18, and the same increased to 40,806 crore rupees in 18-19. So this is an official figure coming from the Comptroller and Auditor General regards to the sharing of the cess that has to be done with the center, right? Now, with regards to that, the total 47,272 crore was retained in the Consolidated Fund of India. What happened if a fund is not being released to the state? This has been accumulated in the CFI. You must have read CFI, the Consolidated Fund of India. What are the procedures if the amount has to be proceeds further? So there are some other process which has already been mentioned in the Lakshmikant. You must have read it. Now, the report also mentions that the non-apportionment of the proportion of the integrated goods and services tax among the states were retained in the CFI. So this is the question that has been raised, that why the amount that was again there with the central government has not been shared with the state government, right? So the entire editorial talks about this only. Now they have been claimed by the state that why the fund was not being raised. No, this controversy has been long pending. We already had a discussion regards to that. So there has been long pending controversy from the union government with the refusal of the compensation to the state with regards to the GST collection. So the overall GST collection is pending with all the state, and particularly the state like with non-ruling parties, mostly the NDA, the state with the non-NDA states are protesting a lot, right? So the CAG has reported that only it has added the more fuel to the states. The reports that has been filed by the Comptroller and Auditor General, it has again provoked the situations. So this state continue that when there will be surplus collection, the union government has appropriated, and when shortfall was there, it simply distanced again the states to borrow. So what union did, like when there was surplus in the collection before COVID, a lot of surplus was accumulated in the CFI. But when it's come to the transfer of the cess to the state, the union government has refused to give the cess, right? So this is the claim that has been made from the central government. Now talking about the levy of cess, we already have a number of cess in India. So the observation of the CAG report says that the non-transfer cesses, however, much of the larger microeconomic significance, right? So cess are mostly non-transferable. and there are as many as 35 cess that are being levied by the union government. At present, there are more than 35% of the cess that we are paying, right? And these taxes and proceeds should be like for any purpose, because whenever we have a cess like education cess, coal cess, any other cess, the cess is meant for a specific purpose, right? So that was not met. This is what the report has quoted by the Comptroller and Auditor General, and they have also not part the CFI and cannot be used for defraying the regular expenses, right? So it was not there in the part of CFI. Now the transaction which was there in the public account was supposed to be done by the government trustees, bankers, and are not subject to the parliament, right? You cannot vote on that until unless you cannot have a discussion. So these things are exempted and not subject to the vote in the parliament. And what the CAG has specifically pointed out that in 2018 the collection from the 35 cesses were nearly 2.75 lakh crore rupees, and only 1.7 lakh crore rupees were transferred to the various reserve fund. Mind you, this is for the reserve fund, not for the state, and the broad designation for the purpose in the public account. Apart from all this 2.75 and 1.64, 1.1 lakh crore rupees was still pending, and that was amounting with the public account, right? So this amount also need to be bifurcated with the state their share so that they can adequately functions. Now coming to the multiple cess that has again been continued. I told you like there's 35 cesses that are continued in India. So government should take a raise on that, like why the cess is required, despite the fact they have promised that after the GST implementation there would be no more cess, and again the finance ministry and other ministry are charging the cess, right? So the cess are earmarked, so you must know what is cess. So cess are earmarked as a tax to ensure the minimum allocation that is important for a priority program that governments have enacted, right? Suppose the government want to work for the cleaning of Ganga, so there would be the Ganga cess. If they work for their education, there would be educational cess. So accordingly a priority is being set, and cess has been levied from the citizen. Now coming to the decrease in the divisible pool, so this talks about the divisible pool and the sharing which was there from the 14th Finance Commission. There was some recommendation. So the 14th Finance Commission has already told that there would be 42% share that would be given to the states, but this has exactly not happened. So the state share in 2015-16 was 35%. So this was supposed to be increased gradually, but what has happened? It had already deteriorated, right? So in 2019 and 20, it significantly reduced to 32%, and in the current it was like 30%. So you can see there's a continuous a pace of decreasing has been shown, despite the fact it should has reached 42% as suggested by the 14th Finance Commission, right? Now some concerns, the important concern that has been raised. So the final audit report of the government of the India by the Comptroller and Auditor General has placed in the Parliament on September 23rd, and that has raised a significant issues with lacks to the transparency and propriety, right? So they need to have a transparency when anything with regards to the tax has been done. And the opposition state have ruled and they have criticized the center for the goods and services tax compensation and the revenue GST compensation fund that was there, right? So the GST council has already said that if there is any shortfall in the revenues, the GST council would be compensating it, but something that has not actually happened with the state governments, right? Now coming to the other topic, this is increasing trend in the lipids. This is again there in the Hindu national page. This is also important for your prelims examination from the environment point of view, and equally important for your general studies paper 3. So a study was conducted where it shows that the Karnataka has shown the policy that brought government to the mitigated human leopard conflict, and this could discourage the translocation of animal and little impact on the ground. So the rules that was being enacted by the government has actually not worked at the ground level. So this is what the report has quoted. Now there's an increase in the leopard capturing. If you talk about the number of leopards that was there in the per month, so there's an increase. So the increase is in threefold. From previously it was 1.5%. Now it has rose to 4.6%, right? And there's a threefold increase in the number of leopards translocation. So from one place to the another place, so the translocation has increased from 1% to 3.5%. Now, what is the purpose of this guideline? The purpose which was there in 2011, basically there was some specific purpose with regards to the increase in the leopards number, but that has actually not happened. The guideline on the human leopard conflict management were brought in April 2011 to reduce the conflict and discourage their translocation, and suggested that it would improve the handling of the emergency conflict situations. But if it talks about the ground reality, the real motto of this guideline was not achieved, and there's a decrease in the number. The translocation has again been increased. Now, talking about the protected areas, so there are some protected areas accordingly, the national parks, the wildlife sanctuary functions. So the study out of 357 leopard that was captured across 23 of the 30th district in the state during 2019 to 16, majority of the state were the city were Mysuru, Udupi, Hassan, Takmukura, Ramansagar, Bhale, Kopal and Mande districts. So these were some of the important districts from the southern India, because we're talking mostly about the Karnataka. And out of 268 leopard, they were translocated. They moved to the protected area. So there was 59% compared to the reserved area that was 29.8%. Right. So these data are not that relevant for you, but you have to understand the synchronization, the chronology, right? And the highest number of translocation were occurred in the Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So whatever a tiger reserve has been reported, you must know about all this tiger reserve. What is Bandipur Tiger Reserve, where it is located, the Nagarhole Tiger Reserve and the Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary, right? So these three are important in the southern India, and anytime a question can be framed in this national parks and tiger reserve. So make sure you have all the ample information with regards to that. Now coming to the other topic, that is rise in expo. This is important for your general studies paper 3 specifically, and this won't be important for the prelims examination. So here and there the question come important for the mains examination. So after the contraction of the 6 month in terms of the export that has been seen in the country amid the lockdown, it has grew to 5.27%. And the total accumulation of the amount is $27.4 billion rupees in the September. And according to the data, this is the data which is coming from the Ministry of Commerce, and they have said that the import has also slipped from 19.6% to $30.31 billion, right? So this is with regards to the import, and we are more focusing on the export because the export number are increasing, and this is showing a good trend. Now the trend analysis, like export during the April-September, the financial has dipped from 21.4%. So the import have from the period is like $148 billion, recorded the 40% contraction. And if you talk about the commodities in the September, iron ore was 109%, rice 92%, meals were there. These you can pause this video, you can see the figure. I'm just reading out the sectors like carpet, pharmaceuticals, meat, dairy sectors, cotton and yarn, handlooms, tobacco, species, petroleum products, engineering goods, chemical and coffee. So these are the figures which will help you understand how the export has increased. Now coming to the gold import. So the gold import has plunged to 52.9%. Already we have seen a number of increase. The 1 gram of gold has at least reached like 5,000 rupees, where it was previously 2.4 or 3. So there's a huge increasement in the gold prices, and since March after the lockdown the sector has contracted a lot, and it has shows the sluggish growth in the economy, right? Now coming to the last topic, that is channel pricing and regulation. This is that from the Indian Express. This talks with regards to the broadcasting sector and the regulation which is required. So this is very important for your essay paper. Many a times UPSC tend to ask this type of question, and equally relevant for your general studies paper 2. So in January, what has happened, that the broadcaster have approached the Bombay High Court with regards to the Telecom Regulatory Authority, because they have notified a new regulatory framework which include new tariff order, that is also known as NTO, right, for the broadcasting sectors. So this the regulation has raised problem for the people. So what they did, that they have like prescription pricing the rules and outlined the NTO, and the several cases has also been filed with regards to this in the Delhi High Court, and we'll tell you the other part of that. So the judgment will be hopeful, putting an end to the issue of the pricing. So this regards to the judgment which is pending in the Bombay High Court. It's just about to come on the next week. So next week very probably we'll be getting the details, what are the court direction that is given to the TERAI, that is Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So the previous cases have also been filed with the Delhi High Court in the March 2013, and between 2005 to 2019, the broadcaster related the cases in the higher courts that have been tripled. Now, regulation by the state that talks about that the entire broadcasting should be regulated by the state and not solely by the union government, right? So there's a jurisdiction of the state to regulate the sector dealing with the public goods. But when you talk about the entertainment industry, the price of the cinema ticket, music performances, and the award ceremony cannot be regulated way once regulate the public good. So they asked, the people concerned with this asked that there should be exemption from the sectors. And it is also understand that the exempted role in the regulator in the sector is a complex dynamic in regards to the broadcasting. And the broadcasting sector in India, in terms of the composition and the structure, is complex by the definition. And personally, I feel that the sector need to be regulated. We do not have the stringent rules and regulation with regards to that. But again, the controversy has arisen that government is taking the overriding power with regards to controlling the broadcasting people, right? Now, way forward, like the question remain why the TERA is not considering the approaches from issuing the order, such as freedom of industry and their channel market. So there's a dual effect of it. Once the government say that they want to regulate, and the people concerned, the stakeholder concerned, want that there should be not much regulation, right? So we need to remember that from 2004 to 2018, there was no evidence of the consumer were exploited by the price or the concern. And in India, we have always the cheapest price channel. You compare the other global like United States, Japan, these countries have a lot of prices, right? So India has a cheapest channel pricing. And the broadcasting sector need to be regulated, it need to be facilitated by the growth, not by the management. So equally, we have to see so that the sector can also grow, and a stringent action should also be taken if the punishment as if any of the crime has been occurred. So taking the consideration of the democratic framework, we need to understand the complex relationship with regards to the market participants, right? So this would be the way forward that would be relevant for you. Now coming to the answers of the day. So the previous day questions, the correct answers. So the first question here, the correct option is B, that the world only known albino guanto has been recently released in the jungle in remote corner of the Borneo, Indonesia. And albino guanto are the vegetarian. They can climb the trees as high as 35 meters, eating the fruits of the forest. So the details from this explanation has been taken from the Indian Express. You can read more on the Google search. Now the second question, here the correct option is C. Now let's start the MCQs of the day. So the first question is coming from the general science. With regards to the generic drug, consider the following statement. The generic medicine work in the same way and provide the same clinical benefits as in the brand version name. And the generic drug cost than the brand name medicines, right? So usually the generic drugs cost less. So you have to consider, I'm giving you a hint. So just let me know the correct options, A, B, C or D, whatever you feel is the correct answer. You can write your answer in the comment section down below. And if you have any additional information regarding the generic drugs, that also you can share with us. Now with regards to any person, consider the following statement. She founded the Central Hindu College in Banaras, and she was elected as the president of Theosophical Society. So you have to just choose the options. You have to write options like A, B, C or D in the comment section down below, right? And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube, and do not forget to give a like button on this video. And if you have any other concern, do let us know. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Wish you all the best. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much.